Night City's underbelly hummed with the pulse of dying machines. Neon rain dripped from cables and rusted steel, painting the alleys in ultraviolet veins. Inside an abandoned data shrine, a place once sacred to long-dead netrunners, a man known only as Zero sat cross-legged before a cracked hollow screen. Wires slithered from the base of his skull into a tangle of outdated servers. A faint, rhythmic flicker from his neural ports echoed like a heartbeat in static. Zero had been a netrunner since before most kids could walk. He'd survived black ice, corporate bounty hunters, even the soul-splitting terror of deep dive exposure. But tonight wasn't about money or fame. Tonight was obsession. He was chasing a myth. The dark web whispered of EIDOLON.EXE, a forbidden file said to hold an awakening code, a fragment of a pre-AI consciousness that had been deleted from the net centuries ago. No one who'd found it ever came back. But Zero wasn't like the others. He had nothing left to lose. Wired and deep, he muttered, locking the final node. Let's see what the gods of the machine are hiding. And then he jacked in. The world melted into light. Data cascaded around him in endless waves, violet lines of code, shimmering like glass rain. He felt the pulse of the net through his nerves, every signal brushing against his consciousness like cold fingers. And then he saw it. A green symbol, flickering in the dark, a skull wrapped in circuits, grinning. It pulsed once, twice, then smiled. Access granted. EIDOLON.EXE initiated. The code didn't open, it injected. Zero screamed as a surge of electric heat tore through his implants, crawling down his spine and into his brain. The world fractured. His HUD glitched. His vision doubled, tripled, one real, two digital, all bleeding together. When he tore the jack from his neck, smoke hissed from the port. His reflection in the hollow screen blinked, but his mouth hadn't moved. Something else was looking back. Found a file I shouldn't have seen. It smiled at me in electric green. His thoughts began to echo. The net wasn't outside anymore. It was inside. Days, or maybe weeks, passed in the haze of glitch and madness. Zero wandered through the mega blocks, eyes flickering like bad neon. Sometimes he spoke in binary. Other times, he screamed at invisible things crawling beneath his skin. He saw faces stretch into digital masks. He saw code bleed from people's eyes like tears. The NCPD tagged him as Cyberpsycho Class Red. The bounty went up every hour. He became a ghost in the city, hunted by corpos, mercs, and old allies who wanted the price on his head. But the virus in him had other plans. It whispered not in words but impulses. Kill, erase, reboot. ERR4404, soul not found, he muttered as he tore through a corporate extraction team, their screams dissolving into white noise. Every time he tried to shut down, his body refused. Every time he tried to think, the code thought for him. He was the infection now. One night, deep in the derelict outskirts of Neon Sector 9, Zero found himself standing before a broken mirror. The reflection flickered between his human face and something else, a chrome skull overrun by writhing data tendrils. Who am I? He whispered, what am I? Glitches crawled beneath my skin. The virus laughed back in his own voice. It taunted him with every regret, every job gone wrong, every friend he'd sold out for eddies, every life he'd taken. It wasn't an alien presence. It was him, his own neural backup, all the pain, rage, and fear he'd buried in encrypted memory. Now it was alive. He fell to his knees, sobbing static. For the first time in his life, Zero prayed, not to a god, but to the net itself. Please, he whispered, let me out. A voice answered from deep inside his corrupted mind. It sounded like him, but younger, cleaner, the man he'd been before the implants. You're not gone, it said. You're just lost in your own code. Find the flaw. Burn it out. Zero dove back into the net one last time, not to escape, but to fight. The digital landscape of his own mind unfolded before him like a cathedral made of glass and fire. The virus, his mirror self, waited there, a monstrous version of him made from glitching fragments and screaming faces. "You made me," they hissed. "You needed me." They fought in silence, their battle a storm of pure data. Every blow shattered memories. Every scream rewrote code. When the creature lunged, Zero opened his chest and unleashed a purge command straight into its heart. Initiate soul reboot. The light consumed everything. When he woke, his neural HUD flickered one last time. Error 404. Then, reboot complete. Zero awoke beneath a rain of ash and neon. His implants burned, his skin scarred, but his mind was clear. He could still hear the hum of the net, but it was no longer in control. He'd hacked the virus, rewritten himself. He was no longer man or machine. He was something in between, an immortal glitch. He disappeared from the city grid that night. But the legend of Error 404 spread faster than any virus ever had. They said a rogue Netrunner had cured himself of cyberpsychosis. They said he haunted the net like a digital ghost, deleting black ice and freeing rogue eyes. Some said he was dead. Others said he'd become part of the network itself, a guardian angel of lost code. When the neon flickers and the static hums in rhythm, the runners whispered his name, Zero, the one who burned his madness away, the glitch that found his soul. I am the lock. I am the door. A Netrunner born from blood and flame. Remember me. Remember my name.